Hey class, this is Dr. S. Hopefully this will be about an hour, half hour's worth of content around using the PC and Docker there with Firefly to actually run the NFT workshop assignment. So what you see here is the workshop notes page from GitHub that's linked to from the assignment. And so basically, like I did in class on Wednesday for the Mac, I want to run through most of the basic steps that are part of the workshop here. So I'm not going to set it up because I kind of did that in class. You do need to have a file, evmconnect.yml that you've downloaded and saved to where you can use the command line to reference the file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be in, instead of being in my Ubuntu terminal, I'm going to be in my Visual Studio Code window, IDE. And in fact, I'm already inside of a folder that I have on my Whistle2 home directory, it's ~JJS, that has some images staged in it. There's a corn image. And in fact, if I look at the corn image, then that's what it looks like. I was going to use that one, but I'm going to use instead the Firefly GIF that Nicko Guyer actually uses in the inside of the workshop. So we'll get back to that when the time comes to use Filebase. So again, that's where I'm going to kind of show the images and work with the images from and the metadata for the image. And then I'm going to actually run the startup command for the stack from the terminal window that's actually built into Visual Studio Code. So again, it's beyond what I want to do here to show how to set up Visual Studio Code, and some of you may have already had some experience with that. So I'm going to copy over from a sidebar that I have off screen here, a command to start up Firefly. So I'm going to go back and I copied it there, I believe, and now I'm going to paste in. And then I get a little pop-up warning from Visual Studio Code saying I'm pasting in multiple lines. And do I want to do that? And that's what I want to do. So it's going to be the name of the stack is NFT Workshop. And then this is the remote URL that you need, and you use Infura to set that remote URL up. So I might show that in a little bit. And then you need to use this chain ID, and you need to connect to where your EVM connect, that YML file is saved. And it's saved for me inside of my home directory in my Whistle to home. So this should work. And so now it's initializing this stack. So now I had pre-done this once, so that happened really, really fast. You're going to have to wait a little bit of time. And then I'm going to start the stack up. So I've initted the files for starting it up, and now I want to start it up. So I'm going to Control-C, Control-V, start NFT Workshop. And this is going to still take a little bit of time to actually run through. So while that's happening, I won't necessarily focus on that. Let me go back to my Chrome browser, and then so here's the Ethereum. Here's Infura. And so I've already logged in with one of the accounts that I have, and in that account I have an API key created. And so that's what you will do. You'll follow the video in order to create your API key. And then the one that you use in that startup command is the one that has the Sepolia reference in it. So you would copy and paste this from Infura and use that in the command line to start up the Firefly stack. So, that's still going on, I suspect. And then for Filebase, we're going to want to store the Firefly GIF and the metadata for the Firefly GIF. So maybe I'll do that now, and rather than do that in the middle of creating the NFT. So I'm going to, again, I've already logged in. You're going to create your Filebase account as part of this setup process for this assignment. So I'm logged in as one of my users, and I'm going to create a bucket, and I'm going to call this the Firefly logo bucket, or just Firefly logo. I have to use all lowercase, otherwise it complains. And then that's the bucket. And then I want to go into the bucket And then I want to upload a file to this bucket. And the file I want to upload is that GIF file that I have inside of an images folder that is within my Ubuntu file system. So again, that's that animated GIF. That's why you see the wings flapping. So I'm going to go back to the terminal or Chrome here, and then I'm going to click upload, and then I have to go find where that is. And because I did this before, it remembers I was in the home directory for JJS. So images, and then Firefly, and then the Firefly, forget about these zone identifiers. There's something funny with respect to using the Mac and using the Windows remote desktop that's causing those to appear. That shouldn't happen for you if you're on a PC. So I'm going to pick firefly.gif, and I'm going to say open that file. And so that's now gone in and been uploaded to my bucket, Firefly logo bucket. And now what I want to do is I want to use this SID as the content for the metadata for this image file. So I'm going to copy that SID value, and then conveniently I have the metadata pre-staged. So inside of the Firefly folder in my home whistle directory, I have a file metadata.json that I kind of borrowed from the one for the workshop. And then what I need to do is put this SID string at after that slash. So https://ipfs.filebase.io. This is different from the workshop advice because we're using Filebase /IPFS/ and then the SID goes there. So if I paste that SID in, that should have been the one that I got. And then I need to save this file. So Control S for saving the file. And then now I'm going to go back to Filebase, and then I'm going to upload that metadata.json file that I just modified to have the SID for the image embedded in it. So again, upload a file, find the file, which was this metadata.json file inside of the Firefly folder. And then I open that. And then now this is the SID for the metadata file. So I'm going to copy that SID to my clipboard, and then I'm going to put it over here into my note file so that I can use this SID later when it's time to mint the token. So I've just saved that off to the side so I can come back to it later. So now it should be the case that if I go back to Visual Studio Code, I should see that it actually started up properly. So I don't see any errors. The web UI is there. And again, just to show that this is possible, I am going to control-click this. And then now that is in the same tab that I was, showing you Filebase in and the rest. So that is running as a blockchain record and an event record for the operations that we're going to be doing here. So so now I'm going back to this. So we use the EVM connect file. We use something similar to this startup command, although I called it NFT Workshop. And then instead of getting Matic to fund your account, we need to get Sepolia Ether. So I'm going to take this string that's there in the workshop notes. I'm going to go back to my terminal window inside of where did I yeah, I want to be back inside of Visual Studio Code. Then I want to paste that command into the terminal window. Oops, I have the wrong that's the wrong name of the stack. That it's because I'm calling my stack NFT Workshop. That's why I gave you a mistake. NFT Workshop. And so that's the address. So in the workshop notes, it says you want to basically be able to put Sepolia Ether into that address. So if I haven't tapped the faucet in Infura lately, hopefully I haven't, I can take that address, Control-C it, and then go back to, not there. I want to go back to my Chrome browser here. And then I want to go to the Infura page, and then there is a faucet at the top of the page. So I can go to the faucet using that. And so now I'm logged in as an Infura user, and I can't use its wallet. Sorry, I can't use its faucet unless I'm logged in. But now the address I've pasted, so that is the address of the FIreFly user. And now I'm going to try and say receive ETH. And I was afraid of this, that it said that I can't get ETH from the faucet because it's been less than 24 hours since I logged in. Now, I think maybe, actually, let me pause the recording so I'll see if I can find another account where I can use Infura. So this is going to be a pause. So I've resumed the recording, and what I did while the recording was paused is I logged out of Infura as the one address that I have an account for and logged in as my VU user. And in fact, the API key is different. It's not named NFS test or I'm sorry, NFT test. It's named Sepolia test. So let me see if I can use the faucet now because I have a new account that I'm logged into. And I think I can go back and get the address again, just in case I lost it from my clipboard. So I'm Control-Cing that address. I'm going back to the browser, and I'm going to put that in. And then I'm going to see if this works. Yeah, so that works. It says I have a different account, and I hadn't tapped the faucet under this account. Then this will work. So if I click on View on Block Explorer, then I see a picture of the pending transaction for the Ether that should be posted to the account for the FIreFly node user that I just created when I started up that FIreFly stack, the workshop stack. So again, the triple dots are happening, and then now that has finished. And then if I ask for the status of that address, then that address now has 0.5 Ether. So that means I can use this Sepolia testnet to do work, including creating a contract and minting tokens. So that is set up so that I can do real work with the Sepolia testnet. Now I'm going back to the GitHub notes page. I got some Sepolia Ether, not Matic, because we're using a different test network. And then now we're going to do the rest of this. So I am going to open the Zeppelin contracts wizard. Again, this was done in class, but I'm doing it on the PC now. I'm going to open that contract wizard in a new tab. And so there it is. And then I want to switch over to use ERC 721. And I'm going to call this, JJS test token or test collection. Let's call it test collection rather than token. And then we're going to call this JSTK. I think I called the other one was JJSTK. I'm just going to call this TK. So that's different from what I had before in class on Wednesday. And then I want this mintable. I want auto increment of IDs. I want URI storage. These are all settings that the workshop says to make. And then I want ownable, but I believe ownable is the default. So ownable is there. So all of those things have been made. That causes the template contract to have things added to it. And then now I want to open this in Remix. So I'm opening this on the PC browser in Remix. So it opened it up in a code sample workspace. And then this is JJS test collection, and the token is JJSTK. So what I want to do is I want to compile that. Again, I could rename the contract to something better, but I don't really need to care about the name of the contract. So I've compiled it. I get the green check mark. And then now I need to use the bytecode and the ABI in subsequent steps. Again, I showed this in class on Wednesday. So now I'm going back to the workshop notes. And then now I want to compile I compiled my smart contract. That's what I just did. And then now I want to start doing the real work of the NFT minting and contract creation. So I'm going to use this partial link. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to say open that link in a new tab. And there it is. And then before I go to the new tab, I'm going to save this sample body for the JSON request. So I copied that. And then I'm now in the contracts deploy tab that I just opened. I'm going to click on try it out. And then I'm going to take away the templated request body and then put in the one I grabbed from the workshop note. So again, control being into there. And then now I need the bytecode and the ABI for the contract. So I can go back and get them from Remix. So the first thing is the bytecode. So I'm going to get the bytecode, and that's copied to the clipboard. And then now I'm going to get that string. I'm going to paste the bytecode in over that string. So that, again, is a pretty big set of bytecode. And then now I need to do the same thing for the ABI. So I'm going to copy the ABI. And then I'm going to go back to the Swagger GUI here. And then I'm going to select the placeholder text. And then I'm going to paste in the ABI, application binary interface, for that contract. So I've done the two things I've pasted in, and then now I ought to be able to scroll down the window here and click on the execute button. And this is what's going to take some time. This happened in class as well. You're actually deploying a contract to the Sepolia test network, and so the block has to be mined in which the contract is actually stored. And in fact, because of the EVM Connect profile that we created, we have to wait for 4 blocks to have mined or stored on the blockchain. Mining, I guess, is not really the right term anymore with proof of stake or whatever. I think they use proof of authority inside of the Sepolia testnet. So we have to wait for this to happen. It shouldn't take too much longer, I don't think. But so while that's doing, let's go back over to the workshop. So once we have the contract deployed, we're going to learn what the address is. So we have to find out what that address is, and then we're going to save that as cuttable, pastable text, copyable text, because we need that address, and then we also need the block number for the contract for later use. And so we'll get the block number from actually the Sepolia Etherscan interface. We can also get the block number from the FIreFly Explorer interface. So let's see, am I done yet? So yes, we're no longer spinning the cursor. And what I hope to see is that after these, again, that's all the input string, I see a response that says that it was successful, response code 200. And then to get the actual contract address, scroll all the way to the bottom, and then you see contract location, and then the address, on the Sepolia chain for this 721 contract is that address. So I double-clicked it to select all of the text. I'm Control-Cing it to copy it, and I'm going to put it in my notes file so that I can reference it later. So let's see. So there's my user, and now here's my contract I'm saving. Oops, wrong thing to cut. That was not right. Hold on. I'm going between my Mac and my my Mac and my thing, so my PC. So I don't want to use. I want to get rid of. Oops, didn't want to do that either because I want to use that. Hold on. Again, this is nothing to do with the work that you're going to be doing for the assignment. I'm going to see if I can get this in. Yeah, there it is. So now I've saved the contract address ending in 25B. So that's that. And then in order to get the block number, which I also have to save, I'm going to use the Sepolia scanner. And so I can put in the contract address here in the upper right, and that is the contract address. Then hit return, And then that is the transaction hash for the contract address. It was a contract that was created. And then now this is the block that I can save, the block number that I can save. So again, Control C, and then off to the side, I'm putting in the block number so that I can use it later when I need to use the block number. Now make sure I use the paste for Mac now. Here we go. 3334384. So that looks to be the block number. So I have the block number and I have the contract. And now going back to the workshop notes, I have what I need to go forward with. The block number and the contract address. So now we need to create a contract interface in order to operate the methods of the contract that will give us the NFT to mint and then to transfer. So I am going to use again this Swagger GUI, and I'm going to just right click on contracts interfaces generate, and I'm going to say open that link in a new tab. And so there it is up there. That's the new tab. And then I'm going to come back here because I need to grab this text. So that is copy to the clipboard, going back to Swagger. I click on try it out in order to make the fields usable in the Swagger interface, get rid of the boilerplate that was added automatically, and then put in this, which is a reduced version of the boilerplate. And then all I need to add in here is the ABI. But now the ABI is probably no longer on my clipboard. So I need to get the ABI again from Remix. So I copied it from Remix once again, and then I'm going to click the placeholder text. I'm going to Control V, the placeholder text, and then that's all I need in order to generate the interface, the contract interface. So again, this is not talking to the blockchain, so these operations should be basically immediate. They're just talking to FIreFly. Which is running a local version of a file system that is basically like the blockchain. And then now, just to remind myself, it says here, after I did the generation, which I just did, copy the entire output from the previous step and use that as the request body for the next one to operate, which is contracts interfaces. So let's go back to the results. And then if I go down here, there is a way to get the entire content of the response body by clicking this clipboard icon. So I'm going to click on that clipboard icon, and it doesn't toggle any kind of change, but I did click on it. And then now I am going to the, actually no, so that is where I copied it from. And then now I'm going to go back to the workshop notes and say, well, now I need to go and use another Swagger endpoint, contracts interfaces. The other one was contract interfaces generate. This is the next phase. Again, I'm going to right click and say open link in new tab. And then which one of those is the new one? That's that one. That is, I think is it this one? No, it must be this one, right? Because try it out is still there. So I have to click on try it out. This is contracts interfaces. Click on try it out. I'm going to get rid of the boilerplate again. So I'm going to do Control A and then hit delete. And then just to make sure, I'm going to go back here and once again get the clipboard. And then in the where I have room now, I'm going to Control V that whole thing. And then at the very top, now this is maybe a little bit unclear from the workshop notes, you need to put in a name and a version. You don't need a description by default, but you do need a name and a version. So I'm going to call, this is an interface, or I'm going to call this JJS NFT contract interface. And then I'm going to call this version, again, I'm doing it this way because that's kind of what I've always seen done in these workshops. Put the letter V and then 1.0.0. This is just a pure string. It doesn't really matter. But I do need a name and I do need something as a version. I can't leave the version string blank. So now I go down and I say execute again. And again, that's an immediate response. And then if I go to where that's the request for this invocation, I go by the request, again, a very long request. And then I get the response body. And then this is where I need to peel off the ID for the contract interface. And that is this top ID in the response body. So I'm going to, again, just, well, I got to go and do it with manual copying here. So I scrubbed across there to get the entire string. And now I'm going to Control C that string. And then I'm going to put that again in my notepad file because I need this later. And that is the ID of the contract interface. So I'm going to need these things further down the road. So I have now done the saving the contract interface, generating the contract interface. I've just noted the ID that was generated when we generated the contracts interface. And then now I want to create a token pool, and then from the token pool, I can mint a token. And from once I've minted the token, then I can transfer the token. So we're almost done. It's getting on 30 minutes now, so it's pretty close to where I want to be in terms of length. So again, I am going to save this placeholder text from this area of the workshop notes. I'm going to once again right-click on tokens pools and open that Swagger in a new tab. So once again, there seem to be scrolling and giving me right next to the note. So I have 4 of these lined up now. I want to be in the right one all the time. So I'm going to click on try it out. And then once again, I'm going to get rid of the placeholder text for tokens pools. And then I'm going to put in the placeholder text I grabbed from the workshop notes. And then here's where I fill in my things. So my deployed contract address. So that I saved. So I'm going to go where I saved it, and I'm going to paste it in. So yeah, ending in 5B, that's right. The block number, I saved that off to the side as well. And then I'm going to change my block number string to that number. 3334384. My interface ID, which I saved again in my little scratch pad off to the side that I'm not showing on the screen share. So I'm copying from there, and then I'm getting my interface ID and putting it in here. So that ends in 2F, begins in 3F6. Right, that's right. And then I need my token name and my token symbol. They should match up with what I did in Remix. So my token name is this collection name. So I'm going to Control C that and then put that in here. And then my token symbol, I'm going to remind myself, what is it? It's JSTK. So not JJS, but JS. I can copy and paste it. So Control C there. And then Control V here. And I think I filled in all of the strings that need to be filled in. I believe the type is non-fungible. This is an NFT. So all of those pieces are properly arranged, I think. And so now I'm going to execute the creation of the token pool. And again, I get a proper response. I get a 202. You always want to see what the code was for the response. And so now I'm almost done. I've got I'm almost done because I've actually pre-staged the image and the metadata. So we're going to be using the animated GIF. I'm hoping this is going to work. And then we don't use FIreFly to upload the image. We used Filebase. And then the metadata that I created is a variation on this one, excepting that I'm using a Filebase URL rather than a direct IPFS.io URL because I'm using file. Hopefully I didn't lose the recording. I just reconnected to my PC. So I'm using remote desktop connection on the PC. It'll be interesting to see if the recording is going to still be okay. And then now I want to mint the token, and then I want to transfer the token. So again, I have an operation that I can run to do the minting, and I'm going to right click on this and say open that link in a new tab. And I didn't watch, but that should be, yeah, that's once again post token mint. That's the operation I want to try it out. And I'm going to get rid of the placeholder text. And then I'm going to use the placeholder text from the notes file for the workshop. So it's this placeholder text. I'll use the icon there to copy to the clipboard, and then I'm going to put this in. And then the FIreFly wallet address is the address of the FIreFly user, not your MetaMask address, but your FIreFly user address. So let me verify again. I'll go quickly go take a look in here. So that's my node address. So I'm going to just do it again. I'm going to click it and then copy it to the clipboard, and then I'm going to go back to the Swagger GUI, and then here this is the wallet address, and then so the IPFS SID, you don't change anything except for your IPFS SID. You leave the URL form in this way, IPFS://. But I need to get the MetaMask SID, which I did again save off to the side in my Scratchpad. So hopefully I did this right. So if I copy that, I can come back here and then double click that works, and then I can paste in that SID for the metadata JSON file. And I can just take a quick look. The metadata JSON file for the FIreFly GIF ends in ACN, and that's what it ends in there, ACN. So you don't put the image SID, you put the metadata SID in there. And I think that's all I need. And so I'm going to execute this. And again, I got a 200 code, 202, but a 200, quantity code. And that means we're one step away of putting this into my MetaMask wallet on my PC. So now we're going to do the last of these. We're going to do the transfer token step. We're going to, again, I could have gotten rid of some of those tabs, because now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Swagger tabs already in this browser window. I'm going to add a 6th, tokens transfer. So you might want to clean up after yourself before you keep on going like I'm doing it. But again, open link in new tab. And I believe it's, again, the one right next to the workshop notes, right? So try it out. And then I'm going to grab the placeholder text from the notes. And then I'm going to go over to this new tab, take out the old placeholder text, put in the new placeholder text. And then I need to use my address again. So let's see, I can get my address from here. Wherever you might want to save this node address off to the clipboard too, but I'm getting it from here. And then I'm going to go to the Swagger GUI and put that in. That's who's sending the token. And then the recipient address, I have to find somebody to send it to. So I'm going to send it to my MetaMask personality inside of this browser. So the address ends in 337. So I'm going to copy that address to the clipboard. And then this address currently has no NFTs. So that's good, because it means we should get a fresh NFT once we do the transfer. So again, I'm copying the copy to the clipboard, and then I'm coming back to this window. And I have an extra quote mark there. Let's do this again. I don't like that extra quote mark. I don't know how I pasted that in. Oh, maybe that's not a quote mark. That's a piece of dirt on my screen. Gosh. There you go. That's my eyes are not the best anymore. So here we go. I need to have the node address. not the contract address, the node address. Go back to the browser, and then again, use that. And then I'm going to use the recipient address from my MetaMask. So again, I'm using the one I'm copying to the clipboard now. And that is my MetaMask address. And since this was the very first token I issued under this contract, the token index should be 0. So that should not change. And so now if I did this all right all the way through, then I can execute this transfer. And then eventually my MetaMask wallet should receive that token. So there was the transfer ran okay, because we got the 202 code there. And then I need to import that token into my MetaMask wallet. So there is no NFTs yet. So I need to import, again, for certain chains, blockchains, it'll find your tokens automatically, but that's not the case for the Sepolia testnet. So again, this is the contract address. And so the contract address, again, I have off to the side. And oops, over here. And then I'm going to put that in here as the contract address, ending in 5B, right? And then the token index, the token ID is number 0. And then I want to add that to my wallet. So in fact, I didn't wait that time, right? So right away, it's showing me the animated GIF inside of my wallet. And so I can, click on that and I see the logo pixel art actually, being shown in my MetaMask wallet. So this is the full assignment basically run through on the PC. And the next step that you would still have to do was do another mint. You don't need to do anything but mint, and then do another transfer where you use my MetaMask address that I have in the assignment words, and then transfer your token using your contract from your FIreFly user to me. So I'm expecting 12. It doesn't have to be an animated GIF. It could be some graphic that you choose to include. But now that's it. That's the end result of the entire operation. So I'm going to stop recording and then save this and share.